Welcome to Chungu cha Jamii. I'm your host, Eunice Mugo. Today on the show, we are talking about how to overcome drug abuse. Have you been a drug addict? What were you addicted to? What are the challenges? What were their ups and downs? What was your turning point? Interact with us across all our social media networks. That's GBS TV Africa. Our SMS line is 21144. I'm not alone. I have guests with me who are going to help us to understand better how to be able to overcome. And also one of the guests is going to give us his story about how he was able to overcome and now testifying about the journey of recovery. I will allow them to introduce themselves. Welcome, guests, starting with you.
Thank you so much. Good morning, viewers. You are most welcome again this morning, and we are happy to meet with you. My name's Pastor Joe Miano, and I'm a counselor and a mentor serving with the Share Mission, and I thank God for this far that He have helped us. Thank you.
Welcome to the show, Mr. Miana.
Thank you.
To you, sir.
Good morning, everyone, whoever is viewing me. My name is Daniel. I am a victim. I've been in a society that I've been consuming alcohol, and I've been chewing mirror and smoking. So I am here to share my experience and what I've been going through, and all that alcohol or using of mirror and smoking, and of course drinking. And what I have done to my life, I would like to testify and to tell how it is and how good it is to realize yourself and to overcome it and to stop drinking and of course using chewing mirror and of course smoking.
Welcome to the show, Mr. Daniel.
Yeah.
It's a privilege to have you two gentlemen coming to share with us your experience as a counselor,
Thank you.
how you're able to work with people like Daniel and many like him, and to be able to recover from drug abuse.
Thank you.
Maybe, Daniel, to start with you, maybe you can tell us what brought you can maybe share your story briefly and tell us how you came into starting to use drugs and how it affected your life all around.
Okay. First of all, I would like to tell you this. What drugged me, or what put me into drugs, and of course consuming alcohol. The first thing was like denial. The thing that made me to fall myself into drugs, it was because of I would like to tell that it was about my family, about my background, and about the way I was raised. I lost my mom when I was young, and later on my dad remarried. So he married 2 wives, and I was the only son of my mom. So on my the way they brought me up, it was quite difficult because there was a lot of challenges with me. So the moment I realized myself, the moment I became an adult, the moment I started my new life, it was difficult to face challenges that I was facing. Like there was nobody who was around me. There was nobody to support me. And that was the moment I met my friends. Of course, the one who contributed a lot in me finding myself into drugs and drinking and consuming alcohol. It have took me like 10 years for now, before I came to realize myself, before I come to decide of leaving the company that I've been living, that I've been going through with, and the ones that I've been hanging with. So the time that I lost my mom, it was quite difficult because I came to another society which I was not belong to. It was difficult to face things that I was facing because I was lacking mother love. Like my dad was not there for me; he could not support me. Anytime that I need anything from them, they was never there for me. So because of denial, I found myself in consuming alcohol. Into my thoughts, I was thinking that I think by consuming or by drinking, it will make things easier, which is what it was very wrong. In fact, it have destroyed my life. It have so many things. I had a family, and it happened that we separated because no one else. Okay, nobody would like to be with a drunkard person around him.
And let me ask you
Around
this:
her,
at what age did you start drinking?
I think at the age of 24.
And at what age did your mom pass away?
I was very young. I think my mom passed when I was a young youth at around 16 years.
16.
Yeah.
So 16 to 24, almost 8 years trying to recover from your mom's death, and for you finding yourself now starting to drink.
Yeah.
But 8 years, they say time heals all wounds, in as much as not all, you don't forget everything. But what made you now get into that? You said the company that you kept that time contributed a lot. At 24, had you already married? Did you already have a family before you started drinking, or you had already started drinking before you having a family?
Okay, at 24, that was the time that I was preparing to get married, and that was the time that I proposed to the girl that I married. Okay, the thing that took me this long of recovering, or I was understanding myself, it was because after losing my mom, there was something that I was lacking, which I never found. Okay, I was expecting it from my dad, or else from people from my family, the people who are around me, the people who, of course, the people that I need support from. That's the thing that I was lacking. So the moment I found that there is nobody around me, there is nobody who is there caring about for me, at the time I involved myself into this company, which brought me up, or which dragged me into consuming alcohol.
Interesting. Maybe to dwell on you a little further, the different spans of 8 years, I'm now trying to look and see. Growing up, we have always been told that we are very unique. We are not alike. Mostly, even our teachers use the theory of our hands. Our fingers are not equal.
Yeah.
So you can never be Mr. Musila, you can never be me, I can never be you. And even if your siblings, Daniel can never be compared to someone, your own blood brother.
Yeah.
So having said that, at that time after you've lost your mother, which is also so difficult and takes time to overcome, as you're looking for motherly love, didn't it click to you that no one can fit or fill your mother's shoes and be like your mother 100%? Or what exactly were you looking for, you know, not to, because you can't find any other mother like your mother?
Sure, but it's different here. When my mom was with me, okay, she brought me. She brought me as an only child. So the way she brought me was different, totally different, with the life that I was introduced after my mom died.
So yours was totally denial of how the life has changed drastically after your mom has passed away?
Of course, yes, I couldn't take it. I couldn't even believe it.
I
It was
mean,
difficult.
listening to Pastor Mosila yesterday, and also the African proverb of mwanaume anafaa kukuwa strong.
Sure.
What happened to that narrative?
Okay, mwanaume anafaa kuwa strong. That
I'm
is
sorry, this one may sound, I might sound a little bit harsh or arrogant,
Yeah.
but allow me to say this on a polite note, and my apologies before I say it. But when I'm listening to you and you're saying, okay, I understand, filling your mom's shoes is very, very difficult. Even the lady you married could not even match up to your mother. Yeah. Even the sister to your mom cannot match up to your mother. You know, as a parent, I am the only one who is able to understand my child uniquely, and the dad the same, uniquely. How I interact with my child is very different from how the father interacts with him or her.
Yeah.
Even my parents, very different. So I'm now trying to walk in your shoes, and I'm like, if no one can match in there, as a man, as how society portrays us, hakuna ile time ulikaa ukasema, after all, as a man, I mean, life has to go on.
Sure.
Liwe liwalo. Because if you're saying your mother brought up as the only child, to me it sounds like a crybaby. That was the word I was looking for, and I said it was impolite.
Okay, fine. That's not like okay, that is not exactly what I meant. The thing is, by the time I was supposed to be realizing myself, or by the time I was supposed to recover, that's the time that I found myself into drugs, into alcohol. Instead of healing, instead of knowing that I should move forward, I found myself drinking. That's the moment that I lost my forward, my will forward. That is the moment that I lost my what do you call it? How do I put it? Ndio nilipotezanga mwelekeo. You get
At
me?
16 years,
Yeah.
you've lost your mom.
Yeah.
You're in school. In school, we have teachers.
Yeah.
In school, we have counselors. We have mentors. At that time, did it come to you that you need maybe to befriend one of your teachers, to get close to your teachers, to be talking to them, to your mentors, someone who you can just vent out your frustration to?
Okay. The thing is, there were people outside there, and of course they were teachers, they were friends. But the most different thing is, my mom was staying away from my dad, and so the moment my mom passed is the moment that I came to look after my father, because I needed somebody to call a parent. In fact, my mom brought me alone. She was all alone. So the moment my mom passed is the moment I got outside there to look after my dad. Because I
To
needed
look for
that
your dad now
yeah,
to be...
Yeah, because I needed that parental. You see?
Makes sense, makes sense. Mr. Musila, listening to Daniel and what he went through.
Joseph Miano.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Mr. Miano.
Thank you.
My apologies for that.
You're welcome.
Listening to Daniel here
Yeah.
and what he went through.
Yeah.
For him to have lost a parent at 16 years, very young.
Yeah.
Only the time that he's now becoming a teenager who is now able to realize himself, what he's capable of, what he can do, so forth and so on.
Yes.
Having lost a mother at that time, brought up as a single parent with a mom, and now going out to look for a dad.
Yes.
Mostly, I always say there is two sides of a coin. So you go expecting good thing or bad thing.
Yeah.
How is it when you now are having, as an advocate of the boy child, the young people,
Yeah.
the teenagers who are coming to you with the same challenges?
Yeah.
What do you talk to them about?
I always encourage them. As you have said, there is two sides of a coin. Everyone hopes for the best and good things, but at the same time, it is better to know that there is the other side of negativities, and even maybe the life now has taken the way which is not supposed to be, or maybe someone will not be happy with. I encourage them and tell them that they have, even though any challenge have come in the life, what we have to do is to try to look on the positive side, the way we can make things better than even living with it the way they are, or maybe falling on the negative side. So I encourage them, it is better to look and also to go to the right way. Probably what causes a lot of problems is lack of mentorship, because again, being younger, maybe he has not a lot of knowledge, and the one who could have mentored him was not near at that time. And actually, it is a very difficult time according to his case, because now he was with his mom. The mom has passed on, and now he is alone, going to look for the dad. Sometimes, and this is my words even to the men, and this is why I'm for the boy child, because the way we raise these children, these little boys, like 90%, that is how they shall be when they become when they are adult or old people, because maybe if we have not mentored them well when they are young, that is to say, even when they grow up, they shall not be good people because they lacked mentorship. Now mentorship starts with those who are grown up to mentor the little one. If those who are grown up, like the father is not mentoring the boy, then it might be there shall be some challenges somewhere. And maybe in our generation, this is why we are having many young men or young women have evolved in a bad life, and maybe at the same time the parents don't know what their children are going through. But if we the parents, we bring these children closer to us, then even at the time of big challenges, these children will have a shoulder to lean on. But because of maybe the distance that we keep ourselves from the children, we don't give them enough mentorship, we don't care so much for them. That is when now, like Mr. Dan here, when now he is in the midst of the challenge, is wondering, now where will I go? Where will I start?
Interesting. Let me ask you this. Huh?
Yes, please.
As a mentor
Yeah,
and as a counselor,
yes.
would you advocate that young boys and girls
Yes.
be taught how to be more independent in the sense of their feelings, emotions, mental health, all their well-being,
Yes.
to be more independent in the sense of
Yeah.
not relying on the parents so much, in the sense of happiness, in the sense of it's true the parents are the confident, but at the same time be taught how to know eventualities of life happens.
Yeah.
You might lose your mom today. You might lose your dad today. What next?
Yeah.
At what time would you advocate the children to be taught to be able to cushion the imbalances of life, and also to have the muscles to absorb the shock that comes along with the life,
Yeah.
with the eventualities of their life?
Yes.
Because listening to Daniel here saying after he lost the mom,
Yeah.
he didn't know what to do next.
Yeah.
The way the mom brought him up is very different from how the society embraced him. At what time do you think, or would you suggest that we start bringing our children into realization that life happens?
According to me, I think around maybe about at age of 15, we should advocate this to these children that we are bringing up. Before they come to maybe at age of 15, they are maybe in high school, maybe in Form 2. Before they go to Form 3 and Form 4, finish their O level, so that when they go independently to the colleges or university, they'll be aware, now I am independent. Maybe in our nation of Kenya, we are being given ID cards at the age of 18. And that is when it comes maybe to that boy or a girl, that you are now together with your parents, as you belong to your parents, now you belong to the nation of Kenya as well. I think this will be a good period of time to teach them about being independent, so that even when they go to colleges or to universities, because now they are out of their homes, and most of the time maybe they're in the hostel, in their places where they study, so that when they are now in their studies, at the time they come to finish, maybe say like now they are going to the last semesters in their universities levels, they will be very much ready to know, when now I come to graduate, where will I go, or what do I continue doing? Will I continue living with my parents, or will I be married or marry? Then I think we should start preparing them from the age of 15, going on that way to maybe 23, 24, 25 there, so that now the person or that young man, young lady is ready for his own life to continue. Whether he gets married, he will do it in a nice way. Well, whether we'll continue first with the business or maybe to pursue the career or masters, then according to their own choice will be okay. Yes.
Where should this happen? Are we putting this responsibility to the parents, or are we having a collective responsibility as a society, or are we leaving it to the teachers? Who should be able to train these teenagers? Because I'm from the school of thought whereby
Yeah.
you say the girl child are well empowered.
Yeah.
The girl child are taught how to do even the house chores from a young age, how to take responsibility from
Yes.
a young age about the house.
Yes.
What about for the men? As a boy child advocate, what are the young boys taught at a young age? Because in the olden days, the boys were used to maybe cattling and going to hunt and so forth and so on.
Yeah.
But in our generation currently, even the house chores is not everyone who advocates for that.
Yes.
So what are the boys taught from a young age? Because you've said 90% of what they are being taught is what will reflect at their older age.
Yeah.
What are these things that should be the basis of what they're being taught so that they become better people in the society?
It is a collective. It is everyone needs to help them,
Okay.
not only the parents or the teachers or the society, but we need to join hands, the whole circle.
Okay.
We try to mentor this boy, starting from the family. You know, even before you sit that boy or girl down to to counsel him or to instruct him, there is other things for seeing. Maybe these children, they see how we as the parents, we live together. If the family has maybe abusive ways, the way they live, then these children are learning that way. And maybe even in that way, you might come across some children say, I would not want to get married like our family, the way they live. And maybe for one reason they hate the marriage, or maybe that life when they become independent. Therefore, I will urge the families on this note, the way we live, when we have differences or disagreements, the father and the mother should know and be aware that what they are doing, whether fighting or abusing each other or doing things which are negative to each other, the children are learning that way. Another thing, if you sit these boys and girls down to instruct them, you know, even though they don't have that power to ask you questions as the father or the mother, but inside them, they say, yes, you are saying that we should not do this, but why do you do it? You know, there is that question inside that will remain there and I might stay there for a long.
It's do as I say, not as I do. So moving on to you, Mr. Daniel.
Okay. Fine. Okay.
Having been able to go through what you went through,
Yeah.
what eventually did you find someone who was able to fit into your mom's shoes?
But what I would like to add and what I would like to say out of my experience or out of what I've been going through and what have happened to me, there is this thing that I would like people to know, or else to understand it in a way that the way we put it, like you are a man. Being a man, you're supposed to be strong. There is a problem inside it. Because you know the very moment that you need support, the very moment that you need people around you or people near you is the moment that they are, okay, they have no time for you. In fact, it's heartbroken. In fact, you'll find yourself doing most of things, and that is what the main cause of many teenagers who are involving themselves into drug abuse. Because the thing is, we are trying to find somewhere, something that will comfort you.
How do you ask for all this? Because if you do not tell me this is what you want, you might be expecting me to deliver in a certain way that you've not told me, and I may not fit your expectations.
Right.
How do you communicate and say this is what I'm lacking and this is how I'd wish it served?
Okay, and that's where, okay, that's the thing, and that is the thing that I would like to say. The thing is, I'm supposed to express my feelings to the one who is parenting me. But in between me and him, there is a barrier.
Which is?
Which is okay, I don't want to put it I don't want to put it that way. And of course, I don't want to say that they are bad or they are good. The thing is, the very moment that that I came to know my father, he was married to another woman, not even one. He had two of them. So it was difficult to balance here. The very moment I need him, he was not there for me.
I want us to take a break, but when we come back, I want you to answer this. For me to serve you a glass of water, it has to have water inside. For me to serve you a cup of tea, it has to have tea inside that cup. Did it ever occur to you that what you expected from your father he didn't have that to offer?
Sure.
That is something I want you to answer when we come back. Viewer, I hope you're learning as much as I am. Send in your question, your comments across all our social media networks. That's GBS TV Africa. Our SMS line is 21144. We'll be back shortly.
Now therefore, my son, obey my voice according to that which I command thee. Go now to the flock and fetch me. Esau is a person who tries to go before his father, rely on his own effort. I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto the Father, but by me. Jesus is the way. For me to go to the Father, for me to go to God, I must go through Jesus Christ. As I told you from the very beginning, Rebecca represents Jesus, and Isaac represents God, and Jacob and Esau represents we. Jesus knows everything. He knows everything for us to receive the blessings.
Here is where we keep it real. We talk about everything that affects women out here.
My community, like, we raise girls to be wives and something. So when it comes to kufanya like music, career, kukua nini, it's kind of difficult. But I decided to fight that. Like, mi pia niko na goals. I wanted one day nikuwe kwa TV. I wanted one day nifanye kwa radio.
The community that you came from, they believe that as a young girl, you need to get married, you need to take good care of your babies and your husband. But now you came out as a musician and you want to do your own things. How about your parents? Are they supporting you?
Mom went nikiwa mdogo sana, nikiwa class 4. My mom went na akatuacha na mzae. So I had no one to talk to. So the feelings and everything, nikikuwa na stress, I used to write. So hapo ndo mimi nilianza kuandika song. I guess my first song niliandika nikiwa class 4.
I'm so happy about you because I don't know what triggered you. Ikamusha your alarm like you need to do this and you are raised in that community.
If you don't take care of yourself, you won't take care of them. Actually, mtu ndo alinipea one thing and it change
everything.
So through the 4 gospel books, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, John, we can know the heart of Jesus in depth.
그리고 우리가 느끼는 그 예수님을 성경을 통해 느낄 수 있어서 너무 감사합니다.
And the Jesus that we can feel him through the scriptures, and I'm very thankful about that. Jesus Christ came to this earth for our
죄를
sins.
지셨고
He carried our sins,
십자가에 못 박혀 주고 죄의 형벌을 당하셨고
and he was crucified, and he received the punishment for sins,
무덤에 들어가셨다가
and he was put into the tomb
사흘 만에 부활하셨습니다.
and resurrected in 3 days.
이것이 우리가 말하는 복음입니다.
This is the gospel that we speak.
예수님께 우리 죄를 위해 죽으신 이야기.
About how Jesus died for our sins. The purpose of Jesus being
우리
crucified.
죄를 담당하기 위하여 십자가에 못 박혀 죽으셨습니다.
He was crucified to pay for our
그래서
sins.
예수님 십자가에 못 박혀 죽으심으로 우리 죄가 분명히 씻어졌는데
And through Jesus being crucified, clearly our sins have been washed clean.
참 안타깝게도 많은 사람은 여전히 죄인이라고 말합니다.
However, unfortunately, many people still say that they are sinners.
Everywhere, GBS.
Welcome back, viewer, to Chungu cha Jamii. Today we are talking about how to overcome drug abuse. Have you ever abused drug? What drug did you abuse? How long did it take you for you to come to a wake-up call and realize you're doing only harm to yourself? What is your turning point? Share your stories. Interact with us across all our social media networks. That's GBS TV Africa. Our SMS line is 21144. So before we went on a break, Daniel had asked you a question that I would want you to answer.
Yeah.
Did it occur to you at any point, as young as you were at that time, that you were expecting your father to be present into your life, which he was not for the longest time? Did you not see the two sides of the coin? Or when you're going out to look for him, were you only expecting for him to just open his arms and tell you, "Welcome, my son. Here I am, your father," because he has not been there for the longest time? What were you going to look after when you're looking for your dad exactly?
Okay. The moment that I went out there to look for my daddy, it was because the very moment that my mom left, it was quite hard because the way she left me and the people she left me with, they were not like taking me like they were showing me things like I don't deserve them, I don't belong to that society, I don't belong to them. So it was quite hard. And that's the time I decided to go outside there. That is to look after my dad, maybe to settle down with him, or else to start another life with him, because there is nobody else who is left behind there. In fact, when my mom comes, there was no one there for me. So
At what age did your dad leave you with your mom?
okay, when I was growing, in fact, my dad was not there.
Ever?
Ever, he was
You
not there.
don't remember him being there?
On my young age, I never remember. I can't remember my dad being there for me. So the very moment, but okay, I was aware of there is somebody there, who is real my dad, because my mom used to tell me, or else he used to introduce me into my father's family. So I grew up knowing my grandmother, the mother to my father. But my dad was not there. In fact, there was a big gap from me and him. But those time, my mom was there.
How was your relationship with your grandmother? Now that you mentioned that your mother had introduced you to your grandmother, who is the mother to your dad.
In fact, she was very nice to me. And that was the very reason that made me
Go look for you.
go look after my father.
My question, after you've lost your mom, why didn't you go to your grandmother, who is more of a mother, and stay with her and be with her? Because you already had a relationship. You're not going to start something new. You're not going to start a fresh conversation. Why didn't you go to him? Instead, you went to look for your father, who you had no idea about.
Of course, exactly. That's what I did. Before going to my daddy, I went to my grandmother's home, the mother to my father, and we stayed for a little bit time. In fact, even my dad was not aware with living with my grandmother, because my dad was not over there. He was living away from the family. So I stayed with my grandmother, and it took us for 2 years. Then she left. Then she died too. I think, do you know, I think you will come to understand it. By the time, I've already lost my mom. So my only choice is to go and look after my grandmother, who is my father's mother. And because of that conjunction, because of that interaction, that is the moment that I will come to know who my father really is. So it took me 2 years. My grandmother taking care of me, and of course, yes, parenting me. But it's kind of, I don't know, things happened, and she passed.
Before she passed away, and for the 2 years that you stayed with your grandmother, what conversation did you have with her about your dad? For you now to start making a bold step, now to go out and now wanting to stay with your dad. Because I'm looking at it from this point of view. If you are introduced to me and you do not know me, and you are told I'm your sister, before you get to know me, you'll take your time to learn and study. Can we get along? You can't just now start going around and saying that, hey, this is, you know. Now that is your biological dad. You know him. You've been living with your grandmother. The 2 years before your grandmother passed away, what was your relationship with your dad? So that after your grandmother has passed away, now you think this is the right time for me to move and now start staying with my dad.
Good. Thank you for that question. It was very nice to me because the time I was living with my grandmother, my dad had to come. That is to visit me each time and then. So by that time that we was living with my grandmother, my daddy was appealing to me. My daddy was paying attention to me through my grandmother. That's the moment I came to know my real dad. And that's the moment I came to know that this is my daddy and this is the man that I'm left with. Of course, apart from my grandmother, I also have somebody else who I should call my father, who is my biological dad. And so my grandmother, she introduced me to him. And he was just good to me. And things were very well. I was continuing with my learning, with my school as well.
After your grandmother passed away, how was now your relationship with your dad?
So things came to be complicated the very moment my grandmother passed, because my daddy had to take me with him. He was not staying there where my grandmother comes from, or where my mom stays. He was not around there. So he had to take me with him to continue with my schools and to continue with life from there. For there was nobody else. In fact, I've come to the family that it's like kind of I was all alone.
At this time when your grandmother is passing away and now you have to move in with your dad, how old are you?
I was turning 18.
You're done with your school or you're at what form?
Yeah, I think I was at, that is the time that I was completing my high school.
Okay. So moving in with this family, with your step parent, that is your stepmom, how was it for you?
That's where the challenges began. That's where the challenges...
what were you expecting really? After your dad has taken you now in, what were you expecting? The same attention, the same love?
I was not, I was not really expecting that really good attention or something that attention really. Because at the age of 18, in fact, I was supposed to be realizing myself. I was supposed to be knowing things the way they are supposed to do. But the problem is, there was a very big turnaround around me. There was things that I couldn't take for real. There was things that I couldn't even imagine. I was like, why is it me? Do God hate me this much? Is there nobody else who could stand with me? Is there nobody else who loves me anyway? I was like, I don't know. Okay, I don't know whether you will understand. You are understanding this. I'm graduating from teenage to adulthood, and this is the moment. This is the time that I'm supposed to be facing life. But out of these challenges that I've gone through, instead of coming to the end, it's kind of the beginning. Instead of moving on, it's kind of I was being dragged behind. Because what happened? There was a lot of insults. There was a lot of remembrance, like, you don't belong to me. You know whom you are. Why don't you go look after your mom? You know, so very, very nasty words from somebody's mouth. And that was the thing that made me think of at least getting away from them and starting my own life. And at the time, I found myself into this company of Hapana Tambua.
Hapana Tambua slogan is a very famous slogan, actually, with the young boys and girls.
Yeah.
Whereby it's a point of self-defense mechanism,
Yeah.
whereby you have faced a lot of life challenges and you're like, now I have to stand myself. It's me against the world.
Yeah.
How is it when you're meeting this young boy, this young girl, especially now that you are an advocate of the boy child, what are these things? For him, he has shared his story of the Apana Tambua, why he landed in that kind of stage. When you're talking to these young boys, when they reach to the brim, to where they now in a corner of Hapana Tambua, you know, I'm trying to look at it from a boxing ring, whereby if I am cornered, I have nowhere else to go.
Yeah.
It's either I fight you or I die.
Yeah.
So that is my slogan of Apana Tambua. So whenever I hear that, that is what comes to my mind.
Yeah.
When you meet this young man who has the same analogy, how do they embrace you? Do they even listen to you? Because at that time, did you listen even to anyone?
No.
How do you now, how are you able to talk to them and have a relationship for you and them to be able to walk them out of that corner and have this other space?
Actually, it is not easy at all because most of these people are stubborn.
True.
And before you sit them down and start talking to them, they even don't want to listen to you, or maybe they ask themselves, now, I have all energy, either you leave me or we do away with these things that you are bringing here. And I have met many like them, younger and even older people. When I start talking to them that they have to leave the alcohol and come back to their normal life, now they start wondering, now what are you telling me? I have not started drinking today. I have been there alone, and let me alone. God gave me wisdom. I call it wisdom. And this is where I come with a friendship, first creating friendship with in his situation. Maybe even though he is stubborn, but after we talk a little bit, I know something that he is lacking. I come with that, even though it is little. Maybe, yes, you are so energetic that even you can fight me, but I know that you have not eaten yesterday. So as I come tomorrow, I tell myself, I shall come with something you have to eat or drink. And with that one, because he starts now to appreciate, he will give me attention, or at least will just cool a little bit, then we start the journey. It has not been alone, even for Dan himself here. The time I went in the field that he was hiding himself, it took me, I think, almost a month pursuing him, talking to them, and I started the daily counseling so that whoever is free may come where maybe I have settled in a small office, then we talk until now he came to realize himself. Actually, it has not been easy to these people because ukweli huwa wamepitia mingi sana, na kila mtu ako na story yake ambaye ni kubwa. Na kitambo mtoe kwa ile story ama kwa ile mambo, lazima hapa pia hata igharimu mkono wa Mungu, kwa sababu we are talking about life. It is only God even that can help someone to change, and even now to remove that mentality, stubborn mentality, now to come to the sobriety, so that at least anaweza kufuatilia na aweze kusikiza.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Coming back to you, Mr. Daniel.
Yeah.
Could you now tell us the story of the 10-year journey that you have walked after the Apana Tambua slogan to where now you came to meet Mr. Miano here?
Okay. It have not been easy, or else it have not been friendly at all. But after becoming an Panatambua and after introducing myself to that slogan, or else involving myself into drug abuse, I was like, I must drink. So, in order not to remember, or in order to assume things are not happening or nothing else will happen to me, because I was afraid of being hurted again. There was that thing in me. Okay, I don't want anybody around me, like I don't want to hear anything from anyone. It's only me and me only. So, my only friend was the cup of the thing that I'm consuming. In fact, okay, the moment I became an addict, the moment I became addictive to alcohol, I found myself even drinking some, what do you call them, the chunk of the drink that they are not supposed to be being consumed by a human.
Illicit alcohol.
The illicit alcohol, which were damaging my life, which were damaging my health. In fact, I was very weak. I couldn't even do something to myself. So it dragged me, and it put me into a situation whereby I couldn't even afford to pay a house rent for myself.
Were you working?
I was working, yes. I was doing business. But the moment I introduced myself into these drugs, in fact, I could not concentrate on what I'm doing because I'm drunk all the time.
Before you become an addict, you start by drinking maybe 1 cup, maybe 2 cups, maybe, that you continue for you to be an addict. At this time, when you're starting off and you realize that it's affecting your work, then you realize it's affecting your imbalances, didn't you think of it and saying, I think I should quit, this one is affecting me work-wise, socially, or the Apana Tambua had a stronger, the upper hand on you?
Okay, it have took me long to realize myself, and else it was not easy to come out of it because I was already an addict. And you know the symptoms and the reaction of someone to stop or to take yourself out of that thing. It's hard. And I had that thing that I don't want to listen to anybody. I don't want to hear from anyone. Like anybody coming from my family. In fact, the very moment I met with Pastor Miano here, he asked me whether there is somebody in my family that he could call. I did lie to him. I told him that there is my daddy, and he asked me my father's number. Of course, I had it. I couldn't forget it, but it was not in use because I was not using it. I've already gone my ways. The very moment he asked me about my father, I told him not to call my dad. I don't want to hear anything from him. And so if he wants to help me, maybe he should try another way, because I was not ready again to hear anything from anybody. But because I had a choice, because I've made a choice of turning around, after this period of drinking, I have come to a sense and I have come to realize that I'm damaging myself. Like I'm killing myself. So, he mentored me. In fact, he counseled me. And he asked me where I live. In fact, I was not living anywhere. Where I was living, it had those houses where this illicit alcohol is sold. That is where I was lying myself till morning. After waking up, they could give me like some useless job there to do for them. They could send me to find to fetch water for them, water for boiling, and they could give me those work of maybe boiling them, that changa, and maybe selling. So every time I was closer to that thing. So there was no way I could live, I could stay out of it, because I'm sleeping where it is. I don't have a house. In fact, I could not manage to.
Did it disturb your conscience at any point when you're sleeping there? That is not your house. That is somewhere this alcohol is being brewed. Mm-hmm. That is what you've turned your life to be. At that time, before even meeting Mr. Miano here, did it come to you at any point and we always say, unajiita kamkutano, and you're like, I used to pay my own rent. I used to have a business. I used to do ABCD for myself. Regardless of not having anyone around me, at least I was able to do this for myself. And now I'm not able to.
Sure. It was very challenging. And the very moment I was somehow alone, I had a lot of questions in me, which I could not be able to answer myself. Because it was like, is it really me? Is it the real Dan that I used to know there before? Because I was useless. I was somebody that you could not like to be in contact with. Before meeting, I was trying to fight with it, which was difficult. In fact, it needs somebody who is understanding it. It needs someone who will understand you deeply and who will help you, of course, to realize yourself or to come to know you yourself.
Ukiwa kwa hiyo kamkutano yako peke yako,
Yeah.
What did you envision yourself as you're trying to battle to overcome it?
Okay, I was like, pia mimi ni mzazi. I had a son which I don't know where he is, a son whom I don't know what he eats, or rather, where he stays, where he wears, what he wears. So I was asking myself, okay, what kind of a father would you like to be? You have come all the way, you have come through all this. And to remember this, there's somebody behind there who needs you. Yes, you have gone all through all this. Would you like your son to be like you? Would you like your children maybe to face what you have faced? I was like, how will I, or how can I at least uproot myself from this dust? Okay, how will I move out of this? So many questions, but God is great. Mm-hmm. In fact, God is great at all time.
That's perfect to hear. I'm into that. Now that you are over this sad story, yeah. Now that you have been able to overcome what you went through, yeah. And now you're here talking to us about it, what has the journey been like after you've met Mr. Miano here and you found yourself sitting here today?
Wow. For first, I would like to say that I'm a very happy man being seated here and speaking to them, speaking to my people out there, whoever who is viewing me or whoever who is listening to me. And if there is anybody outside there who is thinking of involving himself into illicit, into drug abuse, I would like to ask you, my friends, or my brothers, my sister, whoever you are, do not even allow it to happen to your life, because it's bad, it's difficult. Again, I would like to thank Pastor Miano here because of the good job he did to me. In fact, he realized me and he believed in me. It was not that easy. I was so stubborn to him because he met me at that point of a very stubborn person, a don't care person who don't see anything big around him. But I had to make a decision. I was questioning myself. I was lecturing myself. The only thing that I was lacking is somebody like him. Somebody who will nurture me. Somebody will show me that, yes, even if it have happened, even if you have gone through all this, there is still a future. There is still hope for you. So the very moment I met with him, he counseled me. And of course, he added joy and he added me interest of turning around and changing and believing in change, which is possible.
Interesting. This is a yes or no question. You mentioned that you have a son.
Yeah.
At this point that you have already recovered, have you been able to meet him?
Of course.
You have?
I've tried my best. The very moment I recovered from alcohol, in fact, it took me like 2 months.
For you to meet him?
Yeah, before I met him.
Ah, interesting. Let's continue this conversation online. I'm being told you are running out of time. So to wrap up, maybe you could give your parting shot and also Mr. Miano could give the parting shot.
What I would like to say is that the very moment that I came and the very moment that I stopped from drug abuse, I started my little businesses. I was selling some shoes, but it took like a month. Later on, I was employed by a company somewhere for like 3 months after my recovery. That was from January, was from February to May. I've been working, and challenges have come over again because the company that I was working with have stopped the work have stopped, and I've not been working for for 2 months now, and where I am right now, seriously, there are still challenges which I'm facing, which I would not like them to drag me back again, which I would not like them to, maybe I would not like find to myself going back where I was. I have rented a house, which I have not been able to pay for the last 2 months for now. Because my work that I was doing, where I was working, the job have stopped, and they have not paid me yet. My money, my arrears are still hanging. I'm trying to find a way of having some money, maybe to start a business which could help me to move on with life, because I would not like to find myself doing some duties which I have been doing back there, which could maybe take me back to what I've been doing. Yeah.
And you, Mr. Miato, in less than 10 seconds.
Thank you so much. Yeah, to my viewers, two things I will say. First, there is power to overcome the addiction, whether alcohol or drugs, and anybody has an opportunity to change. To them that are suffering and struggling in that war, there is hope, because there is an opportunity to change. To them that might think that maybe this is a good way when when I have stress, that it can reduce my stress, that is not a good way. I will say again, that is a myth. It will only cause him to be in addiction one day, one time. Therefore, I can urge my viewers, them that maybe they can think that they can start maybe in any way, whether in a pressure way or maybe removing stress, it is not a good way. Together with that, I will add, number 3, finishing there, is let us all join hands to help those who are in that in those places or those in addiction. Let us join hands that we may help them, because sometimes we see like ya kwamba hawa walevi ni kujiachiria, hawajipendi, hata hawajishughulikii, but wengine sio kupenda, wengine ni ugonjwa. Maybe they are going through some issues like Dan and other people. Therefore, let us join hands, whether parents or counselors, mentors, teachers, anyone, society, so that we may help these people that are lost. Thank you so much, and we are very much humbled to be here. Thank you. We appreciate.
Thank you so much for honoring our invite.
Thank you.
Viewer, let's continue this conversation online across all our social media networks. That's GBS TV Africa. Our SMS line is 21144. Till next time, have a nice time. Goodbye.